Welcome back, you all, to another edition of Live Better. We are here again with Dr. Hunter and Miss Levy from the Atlanta VA Medical Center. We're talking about mental health and veterans, and we are in part two. So if you didn't see part one, get that great information on mental health. Dr. Hunter gave some great information, educated us on what mental health is, what it looks like, difference between mental health and mental illness. So please go back and look at that and then come back here. Come back here. And then when you come back here, make sure you share. Everybody right now, share this. We're going to have some great resources that we're going to talk about today that the Atlanta, also the VA in general offers. Again, we're here supporting our veterans. And so today, I want to talk about the programs that you all are a part of. You are the section chief, again, for the Psychosocial Rehabilitation Services. And Ms. Levy, you're the director for the Psychosocial Rehabilitation and Recovery Center, PRRC.
Yes.
Yes, see, I got my acronyms together today, y'all. So tell us about that program. Tell us about your services that are provided for that program.
Okay, sure. PRRC is a transitional learning center that's designed to support recovery and community integration for veterans who are seriously mentally ill and have severe functional impairment. So what we do is we provide evidence-based psycho groups and psychoeducational groups as well to veterans who are challenged by serious mental illness. So we are we Monday through Friday, and we have groups pretty much during the day, and we also have a community integration piece that is a part of our program. So we basically work with the veterans to help them with reintegrating in the community. So we look at them from a holistic perspective. We utilize a recovery model, which is a strengths-based model, and helping them to fully integrate into the community and be able to function, at their optimal level once they are out of the program. So it's a 12 to 18 month program, and we have a multidisciplinary team, and the disciplines include a rec therapist, social workers, occupational therapists, and peer specialists. So we work as a team and trying to provide skills that would help them build their self-esteem, learn how to cope, coping strategies, learn how to cope with their illness, and also just kind of empower them and give them community resources so that once they're out of our program, they're able to navigate the systems and be able to have community resources so that they can do the things that anyone would normally do in their daily functions.
One thing that struck me about this whole program and the length of time, because I think sometimes we think it's immediate, quick. We live in an immediate, quick society, and change and acquiring tools takes time.
It does.
I'm a witness, y'all. Okay.
Yes.
But you said 12 to 18 months.
Yes, 12 to 18 months. And we're one of the specialty programs through the Atlanta VA healthcare system.
Okay.
And so it's a limited program, but it's a very intensive program. So they are there on a daily basis to get the most out of the program.
Wow.
And they all have what is called a recovery coach, which is a licensed professional that helps them to, navigate the system and also help them with their recovery goals. They all have, individualized treatment plans that's specific to their needs, and we help them to be able to meet their treatment goals through the groups and through, the psychoeducation and psychotherapeutic groups.
Oh, wow. And so I know you mentioned in our previous discussion that serious mental illnesses is what we're covering here. And so that would be those who have schizophrenia, those who are bipolar disorder, and then I believe, what was the third one?
With severe depression.
Severe depression. And so how is someone referred to this specific specialty program, PRRC?
Okay, so the way a person is referred to PRRC would be connected with one of the mental health programs through the VA
Okay.
to be referred to the PRRC because it's a specialty program. So we
Okay.
work in conjunction with, another mental health program that they're already in.
Okay.
So that's kind of how this particular program works.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
So there are a myriad of programs, and we talked about that. So
Yes.
not just serious mental illness. So you may have just some mental illness, or maybe some mental swings that you had to deal with. What are some other programs that we have, and then how do we funnel into who is eligible to receive this service?
There are so many acronyms, and I will try not to use them
Yes.
and try to actually list out what is. There are so many.
Love it.
We actually, at the Atlanta VA healthcare system, provide mental health care to about 30,000 veterans a year. And so all of those veterans are being served somewhere with, among our more than a dozen physical location and all of our different programs based on what their individual needs are. So the symptoms that they're experiencing, what they're willing or able to participate in, and things like that. But across our levels of care, we have several different programs. So we have on the outpatient side, we have general mental health, which is kind of what most people would consider to be like when you think about mental health care, what you might think of. So you might have a psychiatrist, a psychologist, or on and off outpatient basis and, participate in care there. That's our largest outpatient section within mental health and takes care of the majority of those 30,000 veterans that we talked about. But we also have our substance abuse treatment program. So for veterans that have, a primary need for treatment related to substance use, alcohol or other substances. We have our trauma recovery program or PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder clinical team. And that primarily serves veterans that have a diagnosis of PTSD or other trauma-related conditions. And that can be trauma in the military or not, because military traumas, they may also experience traumas in other areas or other periods of their lives as well. And so we serve them regardless of if their trauma was military related or not. We also have an inpatient psychiatry unit. So this would be for veterans primarily who are experiencing severe or acute symptoms, particularly at a level to themselves or to other people. And so usually when people are hospitalized on our inpatient unit, it is for a relatively brief period of time. We have a residential treatment that serves veterans who are homeless or at risk of homelessness, but also have a mental health condition that most likely affects their ability to maintain housing. But we also have a residential treatment program that is related to the residential treatment of substance use disorders as well. So for veterans who maybe have tried outpatient substance abuse work for them and they need something more intensive, we have a residential substance use disorder treatment program. I know we have more services than that. I could go. I don't want to, but those are the broad strokes of the services that we have available. I would also mention that we have mental health providers that work in the emergency department at the Atlanta VA. So even though we don't consider it a mental health program, so to speak, if you or someone that you know is experiencing life-threatening emergency related to mental health, or you're concerned about their safety, there's always the option of going to the VA emergency department 24/7, and you can be evaluated by a mental health provider there.
I'm thinking about one other group, and that's good. There's a women's group, isn't there, as well?
We have women's wellness, or yes, there's women's wellness, which is encompassing. And so the idea is that, and it's so common sense that, it's sad that sometimes we have to even mention it, but the needs of women veterans are so different than the needs of
Yes.
male veterans.
Yes.
And so a care team that is dedicated to understanding and respecting the needs of the unique needs of women veterans, and that is what they do all day. That's what they do. Provides what I hope is a safer space, you know, what feels like a safer space for people to, women veterans, to come and get that they can trust.
That's so awesome, and I love that.
All things work together for your good. But here's the part that you have to keep in mind. In order for things to work together, they have to be put together. So don't be thrown off when you find good and bad in one season, because it still can work together.
All right, let's try this.
COVID has been a really long fight, and it's been especially tough on kids.
It's been a rough transition for all of us.
Right now, as a father, I want to give the best tools to protect my kids.
So what can we do to get that sense of normalcy?
Many parents are asking if it is worth it to get their kids vaccinated against COVID.
The answer is absolutely yes.
My own sons, who are 6 and 8 years old, had their COVID vaccine.
It's an added layer of protection to keep kids from getting any type of severe illness or complications from a COVID infection.
A lot of parents are also wondering if the vaccines are safe.
Yes, it's safe and effective for children.
Than a COVID infection.
Children get a smaller dosage than adults do.
So if you have questions or concerns about the vaccine, that's okay.
We're here to help.
We have the tools we need to protect kids and help them stay healthy, and all get through this together.
For young professionals that may be a little intimidated by the financial planning or investing process. If you start early, you can just do small amounts that can turn into big results.
How do we funnel, or how do you transition people from regular mental health to needing serious mental health and into this program?
It is one thing. Let me back up just a little bit, because I realized as I was listing off programs, I don't want anybody to feel like they have to know which program they
Good.
That is not the goal of the conversation. I feel like that's it's useful to know that we have a full range. Like, here's kind of the menu,
Yes.
but you don't necessarily need to know.
Right.
I think it is more important if you need help.
Mhm.
All you need to know is I need help
That's
and
good.
where to go.
That's good.
And then we will work with you on the rest.
That's so good.
And so, you know, we have clinicians trained in, you know, kind of teasing out what are the indicators that this program might be a better fit, and then talking to the veteran about, here are our options. What do you think?
Yes.
And letting that, you know, unfold as a collaborative decision.
That's so
So,
good.
so please don't feel like, you know,
You
out
need
of
to
all
know
this, you
all
need to
this.
know, I need to go to, you know,
Yes.
that's not,
Yes.
that's
Too
not
many
it.
programs.
Too many programs where you know, and that sometimes there are a couple of options that
Yeah.
are appropriate, and it's just a conversation about, well, what do you think? And you know, sometimes it also involves bringing in loved ones, family members, and having them involved if that's the veteran's choice,
Yeah.
in helping to make that decision as well.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Hunter,
Absolutely.
for helping us.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. The goal is to, you know, find out what's the best fit for that particular veteran.
Yes.
So, you know, we're able to do an assessment and, you know, through talking to the veteran and family,
Yes.
and then we'll guide them and let them know what would be the best route for them to take.
Let me tell you, Miss Levy, I love the VA. I don't care what y'all say.
Mm-hmm.
No, I do. I care what y'all say. But the VA, I just go in there and they do it for real. It's like a one-stop shop. I feel like it is for me. That's been my experience. They really do. They funnel you through and they work it. Professionals. And you mentioned families, and so I thought about that question. do we have support for families?
We do. We have vet centers, and those particular programs are for veterans who have who's been in a combat zone, and it's for them and their families to be able to get kind of readjustment type of counseling, so we have several centers, and then also it also helps veterans who have experienced some type of trauma or military sex trauma. They also kind of focus on that as well. And so that's one place where we work with veterans and their families. And so we have family therapy and other types of services where the families are also included. And even in my program, we work with families. We have family events quarterly because we want to engage the families in their treatment and in their recovery. And so we want to incorporate the families as well.
I tell you, that's beautiful because they're in the journey.
They're in the journey.
They're in the journey.
They're in the journey.
And so out of that 12 to 18 months, as they're going through that process, the family gets to journey with them. Oh, that's
we want
beautiful.
to involve them as well.
That's beautiful.
Let's have a therapeutic conversation about how and why does resentment. You can't get.
Even though we didn't grow up together, he's my favorite brother.
Hey, sis.
I'm the baby of the family, and he's the gentle giant.
What you know about Port Georgia?
Man, please, that's a classic.
You know when they say people are a rare breed? Yeah, he's that.
I'm sorry, I'll be back in a few hours.
Don't worry, Shug, you know I'm for you.
I know.
Go get the football.
That was my favorite memory. He was always for you. This is a true story of me, Bridget Floyd, and this guy, George Perry Floyd Jr., my big brother.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Single in.
When we do think about building relationships, even professionally, it comes from consistent delivery on promises and effort.
It is kind of like an insert, almost like a peekaboo, like, what would my life be like with this person?
Yeah.
You know, like.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, you know, like.
Besides sex and in the sight of God and taking vows in front of all those that you love, what's the point of getting married?
Have a great night. This is Single in the City. We'll see you next week.
What other type of services does the VA healthcare offer to our veterans?
When you say what other type, outside of kind of outpatient type
Yes,
services,
outside of that.
you have the inpatient services, residential services, emergency care services. It's the whole gamut. Am I missing anything, Dr. Hannah?
I think that those are there's all kinds of options available based on, certainly within mental health care, it could include services that are based on like the symptoms that a person is experiencing. But I also, I mentioned in the last conversation that one of the things that I just kind of fell in love with working in the VA system, and one of the things that I liked the most is that it is an integrated system of care. And so I am able to, a veteran's primary care doctor, if I need to, often because they're right down the hall, or if not, I can see what's going on in the veteran's medical record. If I need to, if the veteran mentions that there's something going on for them medically and they're having some mental health symptoms or some adjustment issues related to a change in their physical health or whatever, that I can work with their providers to get a better understanding of what's going on for them. And it's, that's not what happens in my healthcare. I'm not a veteran, and so, you know, when I go to my doctors, I go here for this person, and then I go here for this person. They don't have anything to do with each other, you know? And so I really do appreciate the level of integration, you know, amongst the different services that a veteran can participate in, so that, you know, and because at the end of it, I think that what ends up happening is that the veteran gets more well-rounded care that way.
And that's what's so important. Even in PRRC, we work with several other programs. We work with, we have a group, you know, for all domains of health. So, you know, spiritual, emotional, physical. So we have nutrition, people from our nutrition department that do some of our groups, and we have someone from our pharmacy that will facilitate a group so that veterans understand the medicines that they're taking and what effects they have and why they feel a certain way. So it really is an integrative approach. And even in PRRC, we work not only with the different disciplines in the program, direct therapists, because everybody has a different expertise, but we also collaborate with their general mental health providers and other programs as well.
Again, y'all, I can vouch for this. I did my internship at the VA as well as a chaplain. And so it was very, when I tell you, it was so educational for me, but also the amount of education that we provided to the veterans in different areas. So that integrative approach, like you said, when I go to my other, I'm not going to talk about the name of the other health place, but it's different. It's different than the VA. Well, what you said, I can go to Shin, I can learn about what I'm doing with my physical health, my mental health. It's like a one-stop shop.
One-stop shop.
So with PRRC, that is important, that you're not moving people everywhere.
Right.
Right? And so their families can, again, experience that, and they can experience that in one smooth transition. Yeah.
And another good thing to highlight about the VA, you know, clinics that you can just walk in if you need some help or services. You don't have to wait, you know, and schedule appointments. Sometimes that can be overwhelming, trying to navigate through the system, because it's a very comprehensive system. But, you know, we have walk-ins where you can just come in and get an assessment. And, you know, if it's an emergency, of course, you go to the emergency room. But, you know, there are services available when you need them.
So I'm glad you mentioned walk-ins, and then services. What are some services that, if we can't make it to the clinic, is there somewhere we can call?
Well, you can always call, but we also do a lot of appointments virtually, you know, since the world of COVID.
Yes.
So we just through, you know, through virtual means. So a lot of appointments, therapeutic appointments, even our groups, because of course we had to change and transition when COVID, through the pandemic, we couldn't see anyone face to face, so everything had to be virtual. So, and it has proven to be effective, very effective. So there's all types of ways that you can get the services that you need.
Okay. What are some things that you want this audience working with veterans that may be dealing with mental illness?
Well, what I want people to know is that recovery is always it's possible, it's probable, and you know, with the right support, that a person can function at their optimal level and do the same things that anyone else can do. And so I just want people, you know, to get their needs met and know that, you know, you can recover from any challenge, just like challenges that you have in your life, that, you know, with the right treatment, services, and support, that you can recover.
I love it. You can recover. That's a word all by itself, y'all. You can recover. And just come, just stop in. If you're feeling something, you're experiencing something, you don't know, come in and get an assessment done. That's what we're going to get you the information in a minute. Dr. Hunter, what do you want to tell the audience about these services? And if you're working with somebody who's a veteran who you think is having maybe some mental illness, or maybe that's you. Maybe you're the veteran. What do you want to tell our audience?
I think the main thing for me, and this is actually the reason why I'm so grateful for this opportunity, is that we have to find a way to move past the stigma associated with needing help. and that, because the stigma is so powerful that it keeps us silent
Yes.
about symptoms that really honestly can be life or death for
Yes.
people.
Yes.
And so, practicing being able to have conversations about mental illness, practicing being able to talk to loved ones about your struggles or listening to them talk about their struggles, finding YouTube, options for how do I talk about suicide if I'm concerned about the safety of somebody that I care about, because there's so many, all of these taboos, they don't stop people from experiencing mental health issues. They don't stop people from experiencing depression. They just stop us from being able to deal with it. I would say that for me, that would be one of the things that I really hope comes out of this conversation is just, even one person feels more comfortable or more empowered being able to have that conversation with somebody, whether they're the person experiencing the symptoms or they know somebody who's experiencing the symptoms. And I think that would be worthwhile.
I love it. I love it.
And there are resources out here.
There are resources. And so you all provided some numbers and some names, and I want to give them out to you, and you'll see them online as well. The Georgia Crisis and Access Line. They deal with any crisis. You can call them 1-800-715-4225, National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. This one again, call 1-800-273-8255. Someone will talk with you at Journey. You can also text NAMI. NAMI is the National Association of Mental Illness. Is that right?
Alliance.
National Alliance of Mental Illness, right? Okay. And you could text 741-741 24/7. Text NAMI, text NAMI, N-A-M-I, to 741-741 24/7. This is free. It's a free crisis confidential line. You could text. So if you text, and then if you need to, if nothing else, call 911. So if you're experiencing a crisis right now, call 911. If you don't know any of the other number, call 911. We hope that, again, I think Dr. Hunter put it best, if one person feels like they can voice something that they've been feeling shamed about or feeling fearful of, if you can voice that, you can do that today. We hope that you get that information, or if you know someone in these things and you didn't know how to broach them, now is your chance, and you have resources here as well. So we hope and pray that you guys really do take advantage of what you've heard today. Keep it, save it, share it, you all. It's our hope and our prayer that you do live better in every way and in every day. So with God, life is better in every way and every day. And that's the point of Live Better. Thank you, Dr. Hunter. Thank you, Ms. Levy, for coming here and sharing with us and even serving our veterans at the Atlanta VA Medical Center. Thank you for being on the show again.
Sure. Can I mention the Veterans Crisis Line?
Please.
You can also call the Veterans Crisis Line at 1-800-273-8255. The Veterans Crisis Line. I think we missed that one.
Absolutely,
We want to make sure. And you don't have to be a veteran to call if you're concerned about someone in your family. You can also call as well. You don't have to be a veteran to call.
Thank you. Thank you. I did miss that. Thank you. Yes. And there you go. All these resources are yours. We hope that you enjoyed and got something from today. I believe you have. And we'll see you again next time. Have a great week. God bless you.